Okay, how is everyone today? I'm so happy to see you guys here. Welcome to the club membership committee education. So if you're a membership chair or part of the membership committee or a member very excited and wanting to help your club grow, this is the education session for you. My name is Sarah Zuetta. I am the current governor and also filling in as education chair as well right now. I also have with me presenting this evening, Tiffany Kaleo. She is the Region 6 trustee. You can say hi. And then Matthew, I'm calling him Matthew tonight. Matthew Wise. He is our, I was about to say Region 4 trustee, but no, he is our district membership chair. And so he is here to help us as well tonight. So everything is being recorded. You will be getting the slides as well. So no need to write so many notes. All right, a few housekeeping notes. So in the chat, let's introduce yourself by entering your name and your club. We are not taking, we'll see who everyone who's logged in, but for people who don't know you, put it in the chat box, introduce your name and then the club that you belong to. And during this session, we will be, we want to make sure that you're all muted unless you're speaking. If you would like to ask a question, feel free to either use the chat box or also use the raise your hand feature in Zoom, which is on your control bar under, well, it should be under your participant listing. You should be able to see a raise your hand feature. Again, we are going to throw a lot of links at you in the chat and throughout this. Again, you will get the slides. We will be posting the slides and the recording after all our education sessions are completed after July 30th. So look out for that. But if you would like the things that are in the chat, we can have you can save the chat feature. We have a save chat feature available. And at the end of the session, there are in the chat box, we'll show you how to save the chat. Okay, so all the links that we put in there, you can get saved. So don't worry about that. All right. And I see a few people. Welcome, Fred. Welcome, Elisa from Chester. Debbie from Levittown. Is that Jill or oh, it's Debbie, but on Jill's account, I assume. And Neil from Easton. And of course, Conrad. It's good to see everybody. And I see Wayne here from Sheridan. So just a few things. Kiwanis International has some trainings that will also be offered August 1st through the 4th. The difference between our training and theirs is mostly we're really focused on the role, but also we'll be providing you Pennsylvania district specific information around the governor's goals and also some of the initiatives that are happening here in Pennsylvania. And you get to hear it from our district leaders. So today we're going to, the main things that we're going to focus on is your role, the expectations of that role, some strategies to help you be successful, club goals around membership, and we're going to provide you some Pennsylvania district information. So the format, of course, is this Zoom format in presentation mode. And we're going to encourage you guys to be as interactive as possible. I know it's difficult during a Zoom, but utilize a chat, and we will. We have Tiffany and Matt helping me tonight as well. So between the three of us, we will see your questions, and feel free to raise your hand if you have questions. All right. This is the same that if you, I know I see a few familiar faces. The leadership guide this is the link, and we'll have Tiffany put the link in the chat for you. The leadership guide is for all the officers, but also for the membership. They've decided to have one book this year, not multiple. If you want, you can also take a picture with your phone on with that QR code. and that will also pull it up, save the PDF to your phone as well, if you would like. Great, thanks, Tiff. So before we get started and get too deep into our discussion, I want to take a moment for you to listen to the message from our international president-elect, Bert West, who takes office October 1st. So let's hear a few words from him. Oops, not there.
Thank you for being a Kiwanis leader in the 2022 administrative year. When I was elected to become Kiwanis International President, I made a promise that I would act in the best interest of individual clubs and members, the heart of our organization. Now, I encourage you in your new position to find your own leadership style, one that is comfortable to you. Kiwanis International is constantly updating tools and materials to support you, so you can build your skills and gain confidence as you take on new responsibilities. Become familiar with all the programs that Kiwanis offers, from K-Kids, a focus for next year, all the way to Kiwanis Amplify, which received tremendous reviews in its second year. Please set up your club for success by using the 2-for-2 tool and planning a special club meeting in September to engage your entire membership with the workbook. I also encourage you to reach out to other Kiwanis leaders and coaches, past and present, to learn what approaches work for them. Their experience is a valuable resource and can help strengthen your club and its positive force in your community. While you participate in our club leadership education, I want you to remember this. Don't forget the SALT. That means details matter. As you study our materials, put together plans, and turn them into action, each detail is there for a reason. They all add up to successful outcomes. I wish you the best in your new role. Have fun with it, and thank you for your commitment to kids and Kiwanis.
As you can see, next year is going to be a great year. We're excited that you've made the commitment to be part of it as your role as membership chair or part of the committee. If you just joined us, please put your name and club name in the chat so everyone can know who you are. All right. So our goal here is to provide you the guidance to make sure you're successful as a membership chair or committee. If you could share in the chat, what do you need to know to be effective in this role? What do you need from us? What can we help you with? Any expectations for tonight? Go ahead, put in the chat. So don't be shy. Welcome, Miranda. No expectations. I know you guys have some. Think about it. All right. As we go forward, again, you have the link to the leadership guide, so we will be also referencing a few pages in there, but we'll move forward. District goals.
There's one, yeah.
Yes, we will share with you the district goal for membership growth later in our Pennsylvania district information section. Thank you, Fred. And we will have some time to share, hopefully, on what is working for other clubs. Great. Welcome, Bill from Wilkes-Barre. All right, some targeted outcomes. So again, we're here to provide you guidance to undertake those tasks as your club works to meet established membership goals. So in your role as membership chair, you'll serve as a spokesperson on membership topics. So when the club bylaws were updated in 2012, Kiwanis leadership defined a club membership committee's role as one that recruits or invites new members into your club, works to retain existing members, increases the visibility of that club in the community. The way you brand yourself and the way you are known in your club is important. So it is common for a club to have a separate public relations or marketing committee as well. Some of your clubs do have them, some don't. If you're smaller, that's okay. So in that, we want to make sure that you're branding your club properly. So membership and PR are part of this. So we're going to measure our success through our visit, again, inviting new members, how we're retaining existing members, and how you're increasing the visibility of your club and branding your club in your community to know, so others know what you're known for in the community. So before we get too deep again, I'm going to do just a quick opening activity here. You know, membership chairs and committees are the key to building relationships with prospective members. Often the membership chairs set up events like special events or fundraisers, or even membership dinners, even getting everyone together for social. Don't forget the fun. You know, fun is what it's about as well. So in the chat, tell me if you can have dinner with anyone from the past, who would it be? Anyone in the past? Put it in the chat just to see. Now, as I said, membership chairs, we're all about building relationships. Oh, Jill, your mom, love that. I said something when I was asked this before in one of my trainings, I said my grandfather as well. Feel free to share. Okay. Well, keep thinking about it, because you don't want to have dinner with just anybody. So just think about it and feel free to put it in the chat. But let's start with looking at your club. So does your community know about Kiwanis? What is your club known for in your community? When you do service in your community and we ask a stranger to be part of Kiwanis, do they know about it? You know, also, what would, one of the things we always ask, if your Kiwanis club was not there, what would your community lose? Think about those big projects that you don't, you know, that you really are working towards and have in your community that your community depends on. You know, if you don't have that, if you don't have your Kiwanis club, we don't have those projects. So we need to make sure that we're constantly growing our club and strengthening it, not just in membership, but from inside out. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. But why sometimes, though, is Kiwanis the best kept secret in the world? It's time for you guys to spill it. It is important for us to share Kiwanis and about what we're doing and how what impacts we're making on the children. Sometimes we're very humble in what we do. And Kiwanis, if you go into any community, I see some Kiwanis signs, but if you ask somebody what is Kiwanis, they will have no clue. It's very interesting. So what do we do? Where do we start? So we want to treat this almost like you're selling a house. I think many people understand that when you sell your house, you always want to make sure the house looks and is very good enough so you get the highest dollar value, right? You want to make sure you get the best dollar. So if you take that same principle and apply it to membership, you want to make sure that your club looks attractive to buyers, right? Or to those prospective members. So every person who wants to sell their house makes that decision to list their house, right? So that's the member buy-in part. We want to make sure members want to buy in and make sure that they want to make sure they're selling. They want to make sure that people want to come in. Also, we want to develop a plan. A club can't just talk about growth. They need to develop a solid, realistic plan. If they say we want to double in size, is that realistic if your club is 30 people? Maybe, but it might be a little overwhelming. Maybe we talk about a goal that is obtainable and reasonable that would work for your club. The biggest takeaway here is that to grow or sell your club, it must be a club and team effort, and we must get all the members to buy into it and wanting to be part of that. If not, it will fail. So how do we start this? So just like when you're trying to sell your house, right? You want to make sure that everything is in order at your house. The plumbing and the foundation issues are fixed, right? And you want to make sure everything looks attractive and attract those best buyers to get that top dollar for your home. So in comparison, in Kiwanis, we need to look at those internal things that are in our club that need to be fixed or improved to sell your club to the community and attract those potential membership. Leadership is, and so one of the things is obviously we're fixing the plumbing and the foundation of your home. Any of these need to be fixed here. Here are the pieces. Leadership. We want to get new leadership. New leadership equals new ideas. Maybe for small clubs, maybe you switch roles. Sometimes I hear this all the time is secretary for life. I have a few on the call that I know that. So maybe we switch roles. Maybe the secretary takes on presidents in a small club, and a president takes secretary. If that's really the case, what that will do is give us just different perspectives for the club. So it's not always it, changes the perspective. So everything isn't so stagnant. Also, other things that you may want to fix or look at: meeting date, time, and format. Does your meeting work for all your members? Are you seeing a decline in your membership meetings or in your club meetings? Maybe it's time to survey the members to see if different dates or time may work. Are you at a certain restaurant? Does that work? Service. What does your service look like in your club? Is it relevant? Is it impactful? Is it the same thing you do over and over? Maybe you see a decline. You do a pancake breakfast every year. Maybe you're seeing a decline over the years. Maybe it's time to evaluate if that's really relevant anymore. So these are some of the things that you need to look at in the club. Club operations. Some of the things that you may want to look at are how, what, some of the traditions maybe they're preventing. Do you guys sing? Do you pray? Do you, is there traditions that work for the club, or does that deter folks from joining the club? Do you start on time? Do you have an agenda? These are certain club operations that you want to look at. So what we want to do is we want to think about what we can start doing. So all four items that to fix that infrastructure, fixing your club is a little overwhelming sometimes. So let's pick and see what is relevant for your club. That's what you want to focus on. So you think about what you can start doing. All right. So you get that curb appeal. So for example, again, going back to that selling your house metaphor, would you buy this house? If you like, this house is nice, right? But of course, any realtor will tell you it might be easier to sell this house if it's fixed up a little bit more. It's a little nicer curb appeal. It looks fresher. But you also have to fix, again, that inside, like I said, the leadership, the meeting date, time format, the service, looking at some legacy projects that may or may not be working for the club. So, and then again, club operations, I have to say that again. So really fixing up where your club is will be that house on the right. So you can really attract that prospective member that we want. So let's talk about those prospective members. So some stats, before we start inviting those members, we just need to understand our Kiwanis demographic in our clubs. It might help us determine our approach. So you might be interested to learn here was 60 years old is the average age of a Kiwanian, and the average age of a new Kiwanian is 48. So when we're looking at trying to get someone attracting a new member, those are some sweet spots in demographics in those area. So you would and this is important to understand. The reason we bring this up because different tactics work for different age groups. So a different tactic for a 70-year-old does not always work for a 25-year-old and vice versa. But based on these recent demographic numbers, you can see it may be hard to capture those millennials, but I will say it's not impossible. So take a look at these. Again, our mission has not changed, but our membership has, and we need to just adjust our approach as membership chairs. The demands of our family, obviously, now are very different now from ways in the past, so we need to adapt. So I'm going to have Tiffany just talk a little bit more about the membership chair role.
Hi, everybody. So let's dive into what exactly your job descriptions entailed. So as the membership chair, you are the face and the voice of the membership activities in your club. So what does that mean? It means that your role is to create a strong and vibrant membership experience that rewarding for current members and inviting to others. And to be successful, you need to set realistic membership goals, create a membership action plan, and have it be approved by the board. And then start planning these membership drives, events, anything that you guys could come up with to help your club grow. So your role says set realistic and measurable goals with the committee members and in consulting with the club's board of directors. You should develop an action plan for your meeting goals, the 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. Get approval for the action plan and from the club's board of directors. You also need to communicate the importance of growing your club's membership to your fellow members in the club. You might have some members that feel that you don't need to grow, but you need to make sure that everyone understands the reasons why your club needs to grow, because obviously more members means that there's more service being involved and there's more children that are being impacted by this service. Okay, your role. You should be planning membership drives and special member events. You need to clearly communicate the importance of membership efforts to club members. You should teach others how to invite people to the club. You should plan and conduct or assist with new member orientation. Once you establish these goals, you can decide what types of events to offer to attract new members. These might be membership drives or other special events that your club members could come up with. As you plan these events, be sure to communicate the importance of membership to your club members. Again, more members mean the ability to help more kids. It also means your club will remain valuable in the community, and new members brings new insights and new ideas to the club experience. You don't have to do this alone. You can teach others how to invite people to the club, and you can hold training sessions and also offer new member orientation. So your new members will feel comfortable and understand what's happening into your club. And establishing goals. So again, what are you going to do with between 30, 60, 90 days? What are your SMART goals? And being visible to members. Depending on your club, the membership committee may have an opportunity to contribute to the discussion about club goals. Or it could be that a strategic planning committee or the board can help set the goals, relying on the committee to determine the steps to accomplish these goals. Your membership goals should be determined by the number of people your club wants to reach. Based on that desired impact, let's set achievable goals and then celebrate those accomplishments. Remember, each club is different, but it's important to have these goals and stay focused on your goals. Help your members understand the goals and see the process. So right now in the chat, what do you think you guys should be doing in 30 days? So why don't you guys plug in the chat in 30 days? What kind of things should you and your club members should be coming up with? Any ideas?
No wrong answers, so.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
Nobody? Well, some of the goals you could look for are just building a plan, establishing maybe a membership team. Maybe, obviously it shouldn't just be you. You should have a team put in place and also try to get the members to buy into establishing these this plan and what you need to do going forward. What about 60 days?
Getting incoming presidents to get a full team. That's a good goal.
Mm-hmm.
Dinner for members to bring new members in. A membership drive, that's something to attract. So that's a good one.
Good.
So setting up goals, yeah.
Yep, awesome. Yep. So within 60 days, which is obviously 2 months, you should be starting to execute this plan, and that you should be starting to get this membership drive, event, open house, anything that you guys want to come up with. I know Bill just put down about a dinner for bringing in new members, which is a great idea. So that's what you should be doing within 60 days. So 2 months. And then what about 90 days? So we're thinking 30 months at this point. What should you be doing? Neil says holding the event.
Yep.
Yep, you should definitely, and within those 3 months, being able to execute that membership event, follow up on all leads, and then schedule that new membership orientation once you start bringing in those new members. Remember, goals should be SMART goals, and the SMART goals stand for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. So as a club, we will invite 2 members per month by June 2023. That could be a SMART goal. You also want to ensure that all members understand the membership goals as you are being supported as the membership chair. Okay. And then make your invitations personal. You want to build rapport with potential members. You want to introduce Kiwanis, being simple, have fun. Obviously, you want to be planning your event around something that's really fun, that will attract people to want to come to it. You want to tell stories, and you want it to connect on a personal level. So why did you join a Kiwanis club? Because someone asked you to. Why have you stayed in Kiwanis? What is your why? And we're going to talk more about the why in a little bit later. Keep that in mind as you talk to people who could be invited to join your club. It's just a conversation. You can build rapport by talking about your community, the needs, and what your club does to help. Introduce your club service projects and explain how it helps kids. Tell a personal story about how you've seen your club's impact on a child or a group of children. That will help you connect on a personal level. Be sure to look at the person with whom you're talking to, shake hands, smile, show that you are happy to meet them, and watch their body language so you can mirror that. Remember, building rapport is more than what you say, but how you say it. Be genuine and interested in what they have to say. And when telling a prospective new member about our clubs, remember to keep it simple. Don't overwhelm them with too much and too fast. Yes, Bill says everyone should have that elevator speech, and we're going to be talking about the elevator speech a little bit later on as well.
Okay. So I'm going to talk about the start with why. So this is a topic that dear to my heart. Start with Why by Simon Sinek is a book that I actually had our current lieutenant governors read when they took office this year. It is in this book, it introduces the concept of the golden circle. So the golden circle is just really a way to communicate your why, your how, and what, and your what that will inspire others to act. So it's important, just really the way you communicate is really the golden circle. And we're going to get more into the detail. But here it tells you the what for your organization are the products sold, the services offered, and your role. The how is how the organization, what are the organization's strengths, how their organization's strengths, the values, and guiding principles will propel the mission forward. And then the why. This is what inspires us. So let's delve a little deeper into that concept. Inspiring members with why. So how do you attract those prospects, as you're doing all these service projects, and how you're trying to recruit them into your club? One of the things is you want to make sure your club purpose is known. Why is your club there? That is the why. What is the why of your club? So start with why, utilizing that golden circle concept, which we'll do an example of, will really help engage and inspire others. Why did we join Kiwanis? Why do you continue to stay? Tiffany talked about that a little bit, but also we want to remind them your personal why as well. So we need to track those, as I said, through their why, and this might be a little more helpful. So here's the golden circle. Typically, often when we speak to prospects, we may say, Kiwanis is a service organization and we do a lot of fun service projects in the community. Do you want to join us? So basically what you did there, we started from the what, the how, and the why. The Kiwanis is a service organization. That's what we are. The how do we do our service is through, how do we do that is through service projects. But we never really talk about the why. So we typically talk, our communication is normally outside in on this golden circle. But what if we started with our why? It's a little bit more impactful. So starting from the inside out, starting with that why. So here's an example. Children often go to bed hungry at night and have difficulty succeeding in school. Kiwanis is a service organization that is working on a local food drive to help those children at the elementary school. Do you want to join us? These prospects with that, doesn't that statement sound a little bit better than, hey, we do service, come join us? Then when you start with your why are we doing a service project? It's because children are going to bed hungry. So my club is now doing a food drive for the most part. So just speaking from your why and an out is a huge thing. So we're going to ask you to we're going to break out into we found this very important concept to learn. So we're going to go into some breakout rooms and we're going to break you up so you guys can talk about your why. What I want you to do in there is find the why for yourself and what is the why in your club. So this is going to help us develop our 1-minute elevator speech. Okay, so I'm going to open them up. Let me get one more room here. Second. Sorry. All right. So we're going to open all the rooms up. You should get an invite to go into a breakout room. All right. Let me see. Okay, we talked about that, what it would look like. And then I read this. So remember what the why is on that. Can you identify the why since you didn't see it? What color is it? Just give me that.
Orange.
All right, good. People are paying attention. We're good. We're good. All right. Then here is the description. And I'll read it again because it's very powerful. It really sums up. Let's start with why. People don't buy what you do. They buy why you do it. And what you do simply proves what you believe. So speak from your why, and that prospective member will absolutely join your club. Okay. So once you invite them in, you will have an event, and I'm going to have Matt speak on that.
Hey, thanks, Sarah. Just a quick show of hands, whether virtual or real. How many of you have had a membership drive of any type? Okay, handful. How many of you are too, it seems like it's too daunting for your club to take on right now? No shame, no correct answer on that. Okay. So, we're going to talk about membership drives, and that is a term that is going to take on a slightly different meaning than how we've talked about it before. There's, of course, the traditional membership drive, as you see on the screen, the systematic process to organizing a membership event, and it's broken into 3 parts. This is our traditional membership drive. We as membership chairs for our clubs are our spokesperson for membership in the club. By strengthening our club, obviously, we will have the opportunity to have more hands of service. And, these membership drives are a great way to start. There is a resource on Kiwanis.org that if I could ask either Sarah or Tiffany to put in the chat. If you just go to the membership committee website, all of the information is there, but there is a section that you can click on that says hosting a membership drive. This is important because it is this step-by-step process, and it starts really with preparing. the best idea to do this before you host a traditional membership drive is to have this started with your committee, probably about 2 months or so before the proposed event date. So you'll start begin with the end in mind, I guess, for lack of a better term there. Set up your team, look for those members that are in your club that are interested in contributing to the membership success of your club. Start out by if you have a board of directors that is separate from your club. I know some clubs that are represented here are rather small, but work with your board to make sure that the folks there are supportive of everything. Obviously, there's probably some costs involved that you might see that the club will need to take care of, whether it be supplies or perhaps pizza or beverages, snacks and whatnot. But you need to be able to plan that into the event. About 6 weeks time frame, you'll have that date and time, and make sure that you have any promotional items that you need. There's some really great ideas out there. You can get some from the Kiwanis store, but you can also make up your own. There's a fill in the blank brochure from Kiwanis, but you can also use a plethora of computer programs or internet sites to be able to help you with that. The next step, and again, we're just giving you the 10,000 foot view here with this, but the next step would be to invite. Basically, you can take the roster analysis sheet that is available as part of this workbook and reach out to the Chamber of Commerce for the list, or use your membership committee to identify people that are on that list. Ideally, you want to have probably, the more the better. But if you can have 50 to 60 people on the list for your first time through, that's going to be even better. Having said that, make sure that your current members are aware of the people that are on the list that you're going to invite, because family, friends, and colleagues are the ones that are most likely to join. And they're even more likely to join if they know that their family, friend, or colleague is in there. You want to make sure your invitations go out within 3 weeks prior to the event, because they have to, or prior to 3 weeks, because they need to have that time as a personal invitation. And then, you'll have the event, and through the event, you will be showcasing your club. So it's important to make sure that you have a good idea of what it is you're going to share. Have some of your larger event chairs on hand to talk about what it is and your impact in the community and your why, and why is it that you do what you do in your community. And then afterwards, and we also, as a membership committee, we have some sample agendas that are available. There is one in this book as well. So, don't hesitate to rob and duplicate. We're not in competition with each other. So these are good things. And if anybody has any that they want to share, please feel free as well. And then afterwards, just send a quick thank you to those who had attended. Just thank them, encourage them to join, make sure that you have the appropriate follow-up materials. But as mentioned, this is part of the overall Kiwanis membership website. Achieving Club Excellence Tools is where you'll find it. Does provide you with that step-by-step guide. But as we move on into the next couple slides, there's a few other ways that we can drive for members. So a quick show of hands. How many of you out there in Zoom land would love to add at least one new member each month of the year? Hopefully every hand is up, right? Okay. Just think about what more your club would be able to accomplish. And Sarah, we can go to the next slide. If to be able to do that. If you had 12 more members in your club, think about what your club could accomplish with 12 new members. A new member each month by one person each month. Kiwanis International did research on this. They researched North American clubs, surveyed them. During the last administrative year, they were not able to find one club in all of North America that added at least one new member every month. On the good news, though, they did discover there were 17 clubs that ended up adding at least 12 members during the year. So while it didn't always come throughout the month, they did have some positive growth there. So we should celebrate them. If anybody are on here, I know there's a few clubs in the Pennsylvania district that are well on their way to that. The research, though, is what led Kiwanis International to come up with an easy approach to encourage clubs to work on these membership initiatives, but by taking it a slightly different way and doing it on a month-by-month basis to make sure that we meet our yearly goal. And so what they did was they've launched what's called the 2 for 2 initiative. Everyone should have received at the club level a copy of the 2 for 2 book by now. If you haven't, please let us know so we can make sure that you get a copy of it. However, it's also available online, and we'll get to that in a minute. So the purpose of having this be part of the membership committee training is that it's important to remind every member at every time that they need to share contact information with potential members on an ongoing basis. You know, a membership drive we've seen can take potentially 2 or 3 months to plan. So at best, we could be planning for 4 membership drives a year, 1 per quarter, which is great. If you can do 1 per quarter, if you can even do 1 every 6 months, and that's what works for your club, that's perfect. But some clubs don't have the ability to do that, or they have done that and they need to try something different. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take that and think about it in a slightly different way. So we're going to post a question up here on the next slide. How many of you have lost members in the last year to reasons other than deceased? I mean, that one we can't help, right? But obviously people move, people pass away. That's part of life, right? They get transferred, they have a more demanding job. You know, they need to take on some additional responsibilities with parents or children, you know, but it's unfortunate, but it happens. But what we can do as Kiwanis clubs is make sure that we are able to sustain any attrition or any losses that we might have. There was a story, there was a Kiwanis club, not in Pennsylvania, that had about 27 members that quickly dissolved after 6 members moved back to different states, so that their parents could help their kids with remote learning during the pandemic. So, you know, that club was probably very viable and robust in their community up until the time that they weren't, and that time came very quickly. So what we need to do is set ourselves up to be able to overcome that. So we're going to walk through very quickly the 2 for 2 workbook. Now that the important part here is not to be a complete 2 for 2 training process, but what this is it is our commercial for it. It is our encouragement to make sure that our membership committee chairpersons in our clubs are aware of this and know that it's out there so that we can implement it. We will be putting a more robust presentation on the 2 for 2 program together at our district convention in August in Erie. There's a video on it that is part of the workbook, and I think somebody just put a link to the virtual workbook in the chat. But what this does, now we talked earlier about being able to add 1 new member a month to our club, resulting in 12. But what this approach does, if you haven't put it together yet, is that it calls for 2 members of your club to bring in 2 members every month. Now, that doesn't mean that, say, Tiffany and Wayne, you're going to bring in all 24 of those members. Each month, there's going to be a new team of 2 people. So we identify each month 2 members to reach out to 2 prospects. They invite them to either a meeting or a service project. My go-to would be a service project, but that's my style. You have to do what works best for your club. Certainly, if you bring them to a meeting, make sure that you have something there that you're going to be able to sell them on. As Bill had put out very earlier when we were talking about the why and our elevator speeches and whatnot, you know, there are a lot of different intricacies among our club that we will know that they may not know if you're inviting them to a meeting. So just make sure that they're well prepared for that. There's some ways in which we do this. We'll be able to look at our roster. We'll be able to look to see at what we need. But the idea of facilitating for this is that someone in your club is likely going to know people who meet the different criteria that we're going to talk about. And then we can base that on what we need in our club at this given time. So think about that tactic for a minute. If we have 2 prospects a month, we have 24 for the year. If we can convert half of those to new members, we are at that 12. And then do the activity every month. It can be in place of your membership drives, or it can be in addition to. My recommendation would be to make it be in addition to, because we're going to reach probably some different types of members each way. But this approach, being able to have a little bit more strategy behind it, is more effective than just inviting someone to randomly attend a meeting, and then we lose track of them sometimes if they don't necessarily join. That's why I also recommend that if the timing works out and you can invite these folks to a service project, that's where we get to focus on that impact, because they need to know what it is we do, how we do it, and then, as Sarah just walked us through, why it is that we do it, because then they can immediately figure out where it is that they fit in to the process. So the photo that's on your screen is from that guide, but let's talk for a minute about what and who your club needs. So if you take a look at this, you may not need all of these things. You may need every one of these things, but you know what that is. And the point here is to have your membership committee sit down and figure out what it is you need. Maybe make this a board meeting topic. Maybe make this a club program. Walk through and strategize on what it is that you need, and then write down a few names, add them to the list. Get this list started, because the point here is what we're doing is strategically looking at a wide range of skill sets. Now, I always say that you should be careful with some of this, because just because someone is a CPA doesn't necessarily mean they want to be the treasurer, because maybe they want to volunteer for something that doesn't have anything to do with what it is they do all day long. But having said that, they do have some expertise that they may be able to help guide your club with, or, you know, serve on a board or something like that. So there's other things on here, like a workhorse or a motivator. You know, those are kind of natural things that people have. If you're a motivator, it doesn't matter what your profession is. If you're a motivator, you're a motivator. You know, so you can think about that. There's a lot of ways to do this. One of the ways that Kiwanis International has found success with doing this is with LinkedIn activity. LinkedIn shows a lot of ways in which members have been able to use their skills and their skill sets for that. But again, lots of different ways to be able to do that. This guide, it's both printed and online, as we put in the chat. So we can skip to the next 2 slides, actually, Sarah, if you want. Make the appointment work would be the one. This is just this talks about one of the things that you can talk about when you're talking to the individual. There are some key points there, the one being the 1 minute speech that we're going to talk about here in a little while. But notice the first question. Why my club? So why it is that we do what we do. That's important. And on the right-hand side of that screen is where you can see the different prospect reports that we have. This is a list. You can use this list as your own. You can use this list as the master copy for your entire club, and you lead this in a strategic way. It helps you to have this, and you just can systematically go through that. And then you can also keep track of them in this book month by month. So January of 2023, that's where you put them, and you can track where that goes. And the one thing to keep in mind is just because they said no right now doesn't necessarily mean that no is not going to be a yes later on. Or just because somebody's name comes up that you talked to maybe 5 years ago and they didn't join doesn't necessarily mean that their life situation hasn't changed and that they would be willing to do that now. So the key point with keeping track of their status is to have a little fun with this guide. Print it out, use it at meetings, use it on social media, use it, however you want to use it. But it's a progress tracker, and it gives you some ideas there on ways in which you can work with each person throughout a course of 3 months. So that's the newest way of driving membership, but we did want to make you aware that exists. It is new. I haven't heard of any clubs doing that yet, but again, it's just getting rolled out. I hope that we have some success stories very soon. I hope that your club is one of them. But also, there's a few other ways in which we can invite new members, and I've hinted on a little bit of them. Obviously, the membership drive, an event, like the 2 for 2. But we also, invite them to a service project. There is no better way of showing your why than having them experience it firsthand. Some clubs have flexible membership options. There's the ability to, in your bylaws, there's the ability to discount dues to whatever you are able to afford for special types of memberships. Maybe it's a spouse, or we also then have the waiver program for our sponsored leadership programs. And then there's special events as well that we could invite people to. 100th anniversaries are good ones, birthdays, celebrations and things like that. But at any time we're talking about Kiwanis, the one important thing that we need to know is, what are we going to say? And we often refer to that as our 1 minute speech. And the idea with our 1 minute speech is to, like we said, why your club? What is it that you do in the community? And then how do you make an impact? And a lot of these questions can be answered in very different ways. They call this an elevator speech sometime, or 1 minute speech. But it's interesting. It's good that we practice being able to do this. It has to be short. The one thing that it should do is end with an invitation to something, whether it be that membership drive that we talked about, whether it be a service project. I'm going to pause here for just a second and ask if there are anyone out there that would like to share a successful 1 minute speech or elevator speech that they've used to recruit new members. Bill, yours was good when we were in our breakout room. If you don't mind me putting you on the spot there.
Unmute.
I can run it through real quick for a minute.
Sure.
My speech is usually like this. Hi, my name's Bill. I'm with Kiwanis. Our club does multiple projects. One is we work with children, and we make sure they have school supplies and things they need, in order to make their lives better. We have a wheelchair club, and we work with the elderly and with people who are in need of mobility devices and things like that, that their insurance is not paying for it. We have a warehouse full of that type of stuff. And third, we work in the community, and we try to make an impact with the community. And that could be anything from ringing the Salvation Army's bells to just going out and helping, so at a nursing home or something like that. And that's pretty much what we do. If you're interested and you want to know more about it, like that, we meet on the 1st and the 3rd Wednesday of each month at Franco's, which is pretty popular place downtown. And if you'd like to come to a meeting, I'd really appreciate, sharing some of what we do with you, like that. I'll even buy you your first meal if you come on down and meet me on Wednesday at 6.
Thanks, Bill.
Okay.
Anyone else have one they'd like to share?
Think about like how people, like if someone sees you wearing your Kiwanis shirt and someone says, what is Kiwanis? What does that 1-minute speech look like? To someone who might not know. Think about that when presenting. It's got to be short and sweet too.
Yeah, it doesn't always have to be, the hook. It needs to just be enough to get their interest piqued. And if it's
one thing that I did is I made sure that I had T-shirts printed for all members of our group, like that, so that when we go someplace, we were all dressed kind of uniformly with the Kiwanis T-shirt and stuff like that. I often wear my Kiwanis hat when I'm doing something, or I'm talking with one of my other groups, and we all have lapel pins like that. So when you're more dressed up, if you want to wear your lapel pin, you can wear it, and it attracts attention, and people then ask you, what do you do with Kiwanis? What is Kiwanis? And that allows you to get to your 1-minute speech real quick.
Well, thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. All very good points. And, we talked about some other flexible membership options as well. So I'm going to turn it over to Tiffany.
Yep. Okay, so the first thing up here is corporate membership. So corporate membership is really easy. That it's just one person, one position in the business that will be like the liaison between the business and the Kiwanis Club. They could go to any meetings, they could participate in any events there, which is great, because then if that person leaves, you still have a corporate sponsorship with that business. They just go and put in a different person in there, which is great to have. I know we have a couple corporate sponsorship with banks. Banks are awesome for corporate sponsorships. They're really looking forward to getting out in the community and doing service and helping out. So corporate memberships are a great way to go. And I know Kiwanis does have a corporate membership pamphlets for free if you need them. You could just call them up and ask to get some of those for you guys. Club satellites. So Club Satellite is a part of your club. It's just being held at different times. So they just have a different time or a different location than the regular club would be at, but they still participate and do the same things as the host club, I guess you want to call it. So club satellites would be maybe if you have a breakfast club and you have a bunch of people that just can't meet for breakfast, maybe they can meet at a dinner time. So that's what a club satellite would be. And then if you get enough people in the club satellite, you can maybe even form your own Kiwanis Club with that as well. Special events. So special events, you could do a guest contest, special guest days, leads from Find a Club. You get normally when someone goes into the Kiwanis.org and they ask to find a club and they'll put in all their information, we send it out to the club to tell you, oh, here is someone that's looking forward to maybe joining you. So there could be a couple of different things that you guys could do with when you have these people that want to join your club. So for new members, the biggest thing that you need to do with new members is you should have an orientation program. Make sure that they know exactly what your club is about, what they do, meeting times, meeting places, anything that you guys can think of that a new member should know when they first join the club. You should have a mentoring program, maybe in the sponsoring club member that brought them in can be their mentor and help them, to any way that they can with that. You should have an induction ceremony. There is definitely written notes that the president or even lieutenant governor, or I've even gone as a trustee, can go in and induct them into your organization. You want to make sure that to make them feel special with that and get them involved. You want to make sure that, not put them right into being heads of, a committee or heads of an officer, but ask them to, come to the meetings, come to the different projects, make sure that they're feeling that they're wanted and it's their club as well, and have them being excited to be able to do stuff. For existing members, you want to make sure if you're finding that there are some members that are just, maybe they haven't gone to meetings in a while or projects in a while, you might want to like re-engage them and seeing, what's going on, have them maybe try to become more involved again. If you have members that have been in the club for a long time, make sure that you're celebrating them and celebrating the member accomplishments that's going on, and make sure that they're staying in the club for as long as they have been. Recognition and rewards. So here are some things that you guys could do. Maybe, I don't know if some clubs do that, you recognize their birthdays and maybe anniversaries, give out some club awards. You want to make sure that they are feeling good about themselves and being in the club. It says some clubs invest their efforts in rewards such as distinguished club recognition. Whatever motivates the members in your club, use this to encourage positive behaviors for both membership and club involvement. You want to make it personal, make it timely. Don't wait until the end of the year ceremonies. You want to develop ways to recognize your members at every get together you can. Encourage members to sponsor new members. We've talked about having the membership chair be the person that, coordinates the events and helps bring in members, but every single member in your club should be trying to bringing in new members. You want to make sure that when they do bring in members, again, include them into the induction ceremony. And also there is a Ruby K program with Kiwanis International, which means that you bring in 5 members overall and then you get a little pin for a Ruby K with that. Club meetings. So club meetings, it says you should be making sure that keep meetings member focused. You should have an agenda and respect a start and end time. Include some fun and service in your meetings. Maybe if you're finding that your meetings are becoming really dull, have some small little service project that you guys can include at your meetings, or maybe plan a social event around your meeting as well. You want to make sure that the Kiwanis experience at a club meeting was why every time they meet, and then they want to make sure that they are feeling connected and committed as well. If there's one thing we've learned over the past 2 or 3 years with COVID, it's been that we can be flexible with the way we meet. Maybe an online meeting works best for some members at least once a month. How about a hybrid meeting where some members are in the room and some are online? You can make this work. Online meeting platforms are free and easy to use, and some clubs even have been offering either the virtual or the hybrid meeting. I know Easton is on the call and they do the hybrid meeting and send it out to anyone that wants to come and join. So there are some ideas on here. Sarah, do you want to put that in the chat? Yeah,
Okay.
thank you. Thank you. So, all right. Assessments. There is, and this is Matt's favorite, is the ACE tool, the Achieving Club Excellence tool. It's actually a really great resource for anything that you want to come up with your club. You can want to analyze your impact on the community. You want to find needs that are being met, figuring out what you need to do in your community, maybe develop a signature service project or fundraiser, expand your club's partnerships, improve the club's member experience, create a detailed plan to achieve goals, and again, celebrate your accomplishments. So the ACE tool is a great resource to come up with anything. And a lot of stuff is already done for you. You just need to go and put it together and sending out either to your community or even to the club and see what works and what doesn't work with that. What can you start doing? First of all, you want to make sure you're having fun. You want to make sure that you're creating an environment for positive member experience. People join because of people. We know that. We're going to join an organization because of the people that are involved in the group that you already have. Joining versus belonging. You want to make sure that you're joining and you're belonging at the same time. You want to combine service and social. You want to celebrate members in fun ways, and always review current club meetings. Often we think of things we need to stop doing to achieve a goal. Obviously, stop spending money, stop eating cookies, stop doing X, Y, Z, but what can you start doing? Often as leaders, we often get boggled down with the business of running a club that we sometimes forget to have fun. We all have done that. People join initially because of our mission and common goals in Kiwanis, but people stay in Kiwanis because of relationships formed with other members. So join versus belonging. We want to join Kiwanis, which is transactional. Belonging is feeling a part of something. Positive experience are formed when a member gets that sense of belonging through projects that are relevant and impactful, events that blend social and service together, and their time and talents are valued. We want to celebrate our members in a fun way. You want to review club meetings to date and time, maybe location. Does it work for everyone? Is it a welcome and inclusive environment? Is it accessible? Do you have elderly members that maybe need assistance? I know a member who left the club because his club met at a location on a second floor and he couldn't get up the stairs. Okay. In the chat right now, we wanted to see what can you start to do? So if we have time for that, Sarah, do we have time for that?
Just go ahead and put it in and you can move forward too. But yeah,
So
go ahead.
as you guys,
So we can share.
As a membership chair committee, what can you start doing to help your club?
I'm going to eat cookies.
I like eating cookies too.
No, okay. I say a plan. I say start with a plan. All right. Go ahead.
Okay, so plan more social events. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So and the last thing, the public relations, and this is, we want to make sure that this is important because we want to make sure that publicly we're getting everything out into the public of what you're doing. You want to have good PR, and obviously membership committee leaders need to work hand in hand with the PR for that. Kiwanis has a brand guide and website with assets and information and resource in it. So we have branding, print ads, billboards, logos, public service announcements, merchandise, digital communications, and media. You want to use the tools of the Kiwanis.org brand to better tell your story. Make sure you have some sort of social media page, whether it was going to be Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, as we discussed. This helps increase your club's visibility so the people in your community know about you. Communications enhance Kiwanis' strength and service. A good communication strategy and well-executed tactics help maintain positive relationship between your club and community. Be consistent with your messaging. Take advantage of the free club logo, and I hope everyone has that, from Kiwanis International if you haven't done so already. Community visibility aligns with the work of the membership committee. Strong public relations lead to community awareness, which attracts potential members. It tells a story of what your club is doing to make a difference and what people want to be part of that kind of effort. So don't underestimate the importance of how it all fits together. And lastly, so keys to success. Remember, people join because of people. Show the Kiwanis value. Remember the curb appear, which Sarah showed earlier, between the house looking all raggedy and down, and then going to the new look. And what is your club's why? Share it. Regardless of technology, clubs need to complete the preparation components discussed in previous boost sessions before inviting members into Kiwanis. And remember, again, people join because of people. That sense of belonging is key, as we've said this before. Joining is transitional. Belonging is what keeps members happy, who in turn then share the positive Kiwanis moments, and then they're going to start to bring in more members. Streamline messaging and purpose of your club. What is your club known for? Share that. Share everything. And that's the key to success. And I think I'm sending it back to Matt.
No, me. I got it.
There. Okay, sorry. Okay.
So we'll go through a few of these slides quickly. You know, we're running a little behind, but I think these are important. So I'm going to talk about some membership tools and resources so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. We've talked about a few of them already. So let's talk about attracting new members virtually. And this is probably Centennial is probably important on here. Obviously, if you're a virtual club, like I'm using Centennial, for example, you know, even if during COVID, we were all also using Zoom and video conferencing, try looking at speaker series that are interesting, that people might be interested, that speakers are engaging, dynamic, and are talking about topics that are of interest to the members, okay? Also that appeals to this virtual aspect is also appeals to busy people that can't maybe travel, you know, maybe to your meeting, it could take an hour, depending on geography where your clubs are. It could be an hour. I know in Philly, it's an hour if you're on Schuylkill Expressway, forget it, you know. So zooming in is also appealing. A virtual open house can be done as well. And look at also meeting your community leaders. Invite your mayor on, invite the superintendent onto your meeting to talk. That is also something that your club may be interested in. So those are different ways you can utilize Zoom to attract new members as well. Also another tool, online application. Often we have, you know, we say fill out this application to be able to come into, to apply to be in our club. It's also available online and it's available at Kiwanis.org/application. Already there's a fillable application there for you. Easy enough. You can even send this link to a prospective member and they can just fill it out, the PDF, and send it right back to you. You don't actually have to go there to a meeting or meet them somewhere. This is a perfect way to do it. And then another example of capturing an application online, there is Matt's club, actually, Bald Eagle and Nittany Valley Club, that has on their website just a web form. So that is really great. So we'll share that with you. So that's something also on the web that you can utilize. So these are some online tools just to capture information from your prospective members. Okay. Electronic payment is something that is been brought into discussion to be able to recruit members, especially the millennials and younger. They don't have checking accounts nowadays. It's always through Venmo or through PayPal. Some of them just use credit cards. So it's important that some of the clubs also during COVID, we relied on this because we couldn't see people. Sorry, sometimes checks were lost. So use PayPal or Venmo to collect dues and also maybe donations for fundraisers. So that's an option. We have a Venmo for our district. It's PA Kiwanis, and that's how we use it. And we also have PayPal for business, and we also have for personal. So these are just, again, we wanted to share electronic payment options that may work for your club as well. And lastly, on online member surveys, this is the hugest thing. This is one of the top things that as membership chairs, you should have a goal, one of your 30-day goals, where you want to make sure you're sending out member surveys. We want to be able to do this to help improve the member experience, gain feedback for the member. Maybe your meetings are not, the meetings are what's causing people not to come. Maybe they're boring, maybe they're repetitive, or maybe it's just the date and time are not good. And one of the biggest thing is you want to make sure, look to your lieutenant governor or someone outside your club to administer these member surveys. Maybe they have a problem with the officers or leadership. So maybe and they're scared to say that because they think that the survey is going to them. I was able to administer a survey for Conrad's Club in Lock Haven. I live 3 hours from Lock Haven. So it was easy for me to send a electronic survey and be able to collect information from the members. And for people who aren't tech savvy at club meetings, you can present a paper copy as well and get that mailed or sent to the person that is just, handling the surveys. So these are just online tools to give you some ideas to help with your membership. And then I'm going to talk quickly about, we're over time. So if you have to leave, understand, but we are probably going to run another, looks like 10 minutes over. Okay. And I apologize for that. It's so much information and I think it's important, but we will go through this as fast as we can. I know some of you have seen some of this already. So service leadership programs, the reason we're talking about this in the membership section is they are our future, and we need to cultivate our relationship with our service leadership programs because they're going to be able to join Kiwanis for us. So many of us have these, our K Kids, our Builders Club, our Key Club, our Circle K, that's our college students, and then our action clubs. So with all of these, they're by having that relationship with at each level of Kiwanis, when they come out of Circle K, for example, at the college level, or even Action Club, they know who Kiwanis is. That's the biggest part. So if you're a sponsor of a service leadership program, ensure you have a Kiwanis advisor named. Don't just be a sponsor on paper. We want to make sure we're engaged. We want to make sure that we get to go to their meetings. And we want to invite youth to our meetings. So if you have a Key Clubber, invite them to your meeting, see what they're all about, and vice versa. Maybe attend their service projects. Now, if it's allowed, it depends. A lot of schools have different rules right now, but attending a service project or inviting them to your service project where appropriate would be a one way for you to build relationships with our service leadership programs. So once they have that relationship, we have, they graduate from Circle K, you need to be 18 and above, 18 years of age to join Kiwanis. So right now we target our Circle K graduating members. If they join a Kiwanis club now, if any former sponsored you, even if they were in K Kids in 1979 and they come to you, it's okay. We have a dues discount. Kiwanis International and Pennsylvania dues are waived for 2 years, and they just have to pay liability insurance, magazine, and club dues. Those are the only things. Okay. So just want you to make aware that there is a service leadership discount. So when you have a prospective member, ask if they have been a K Kid or a Circle K or Key Club. And just so you're aware, these are some important opportunities for our youth. So if you are sponsoring a service leadership program, it'd be great to get you guys involved as clubs. We have our Key Leader program, April 21st to 23rd at Camp Conrad Weiser, which is outside Reading. Our Key Club convention will be March 31st to April 1st at Hershey Lodge. And then our Circle K events are Interpact and which is basically like a fall conference, if you will, at Hidden Valley Scout Reservation in Harrisburg, November 11th to 13th. That's being solidified right now. And their district convention will most likely be in March of 2023. So keep these dates in mind, especially as if you're sponsoring any of the service leadership programs. We want to get them involved. So I'm going to quickly go over some Pennsylvania districts, and I'm going to focus really on our membership goals for Pennsylvania district when we get to it. If you don't know, our district office consists of our executive director, Kevin Thomas. Many of you may know him, and our administrative assistant, Michelle March. If you call our office, these are the two folks that answer. And starting October 1st, our 22-23 district officers will be our governor, Mike Kuba. He is from the Wyoming area club. I will be immediate past governor, and the governor-elect is a candidate. The current candidate is Conrad Schlesinger from the Kiwanis Club of Lock Haven, and he's currently on. Yay! So he currently is the only candidate so far, and he will be the elections will be held at the 2022 district convention in Erie. So register quick. Want to get on that. Pennsylvania also is a trustee system. We have 7 geographical regions in our district, and we have 7 leaders, what we call trustees, our district trustees, and they represent who's on the board. Right now, Region 1 is vacant due to a death. Our board member, Tom Bowes, had passed away this year, so it's currently vacant. Region 2 is Sean Smith from the Kiwanis Club of Sheridan. Region 3 is Miranda Burton from the Kiwanis Club of Phillipsburg. Region 4 is Penny Myers from the Kiwanis Club of Bald Eagle and Nittany Valleys. Region 5 is Ryan Hartman from the Kiwanis Club of Dillsburg and the Kiwanis Club. And Region 6 is Tiffany Kaleo, she's on, from the Kiwanis Club of Wyoming area. And Region 7 trustee starting October will be Joe Wilson from the Kiwanis Club of Southampton. So these are our leaders and our voting members on the district board next year. Our lieutenant governors, I won't read all their names, but if you see a vacant next to that division, that means we currently do not have one at this time. And we just actually had a board meeting. So it says here with the asterisk, they would be needing a board approval. We just had one, so they're all approved. And including Division 14 actually has a Lieutenant Governor, Alan Shepard from the Kiwanis Club of Bloomsburg. So we are excited that we only have 6 vacancies, but we're making a dent there. But if you don't know the hierarchy, if you don't know what the regions, divisions you are in, you know, just remember that it starts with your club and then in your division. And then the hierarchy then goes your division into the region. Most regions have 3 divisions. And then our 7 regions make up our Pennsylvania district. So as an example, one of my clubs is the Kiwanis Club of University City. So my club, University City, is in the Division 22, which is the Philadelphia area, and is part of Region 7, which is basically Bucks County all the way down to Delaware. And then to the west is Westchester. That is our region, Region 7, and we are all part of Pennsylvania District. So just so you know, all of us are part of Kiwanis. And quickly, our district membership team starting October 1st will be Matt Wise will be the district membership coordinator. I will be on there. I will be taking probably a different role, still working on that one on the membership team. We're looking at splitting it out to new club opening and strengthening 2 different roles. And then we also have, of course, our governor-elect, Mike Kuba. He will be the governor starting October 1st. We do have a district strategic plan. Please, Tiffany will put the link in there, but it's a 3-year strategic plan that was developed and approved October 9th, 2021. And it really focuses around leadership, our education, service leadership programs, improving that member experience and our district operations. So, and with that, the 22-23 governor priorities, under Mike Kuba, who will be the governor October 1st, his goals will be very similar to my year and also I should say this year, and also the strategic plan. So you'll see that consistency. We're to improve member experience, our priorities, share Kiwanis in new communities by opening new clubs, promoting our diversity, equity, inclusion at all levels in Kiwanis, and strengthening our Kiwanis service leadership programs, and then improving our district operations. So let's focus on this pillar, membership goals. Our goal for next year will be opening 7 new clubs across Pennsylvania and into new communities. That's a big number for us. Right now, we are in the middle of opening 2 clubs. So 7 is a huge number, and we're gonna make it happen. We're also going to reduce the number of clubs under charter strength. A charter strength club is 15. So if you're below 15, that's when we say you're below charter strength. You still exist as a club, but we really want to have more hands of service. So we want to increase these numbers by 25%. We're going to increase club membership by a net +2 and 25% of the clubs. I think this should be a goal for everyone, but the goal in many clubs, we want to make sure that we have net 2 at least. We were talking earlier, everyone could bring in just 1 member, we would double in size. But realistically, if we know that some people will either leave, we have people who pass on. There's various reasons why people leave Kiwanis. They move or work gets in a way. It's okay, but we also need to continue growing our clubs. So at the end, try to strive for +2. Of course, we want more, but 25% of the clubs, we want to see that growth. The net gain in membership over the previous year as certified by October 10th on 2023, that just means that we show an increase higher than what we had last year. So that is the goal for this coming year. Service leadership programs, of course, I'm going to highlight, I'm not going to read everything here for time, but the key ones here is it is a goal to open 2 new service leadership programs, 2 new Circle K, Key Club, and Builders Club. One of the thing is also to open 5 new K-Kid clubs across the state. So this is statewide. It's not saying your club needs to open 5 new. That'd be awesome if they can, but it's 5 across the state. Reason is that President-elect Burt West is very big on the K-Kids, and that is one of his goals he has driven home to his governors, and that is going to be our goal as well. Of course, justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion. You're going to hear a lot more of that. We nicknamed it JEDI. So if you hear anyone saying about the JEDI committee, this is the justice, equity, diversity, inclusion. Their purpose is really to strive and educate and ensure that we have inclusion at all levels, that we make sure our clubs feel welcoming. So their pillars will be continuing to work through what they've done this year and continue to educate us at our district convention this upcoming year. And then, of course, leadership education. You guys are here. This is the biggest thing. Leadership education is an important area to ensure that we are developing our leaders. So we need more people to join our monthly club education sessions that we have. That is chaired by our leadership education virtual content chair, with Brittany Brown, she has done a phenomenal job this year trying to have education every month, but also joining this call and all our, the ones that are this week, Secretary, Treasurer, and President, please make sure that your officers are joining those calls. Those are very important. So we want to at least have that. One of the things here is the Kiwanis Amplify. So that goal was 60% of the club officers attending club leadership education. And I skipped over the first one. Kiwanis Amplify is a Kiwanis international initiative that is led by experts that don't work for Kiwanis International, but it's an 8-week program developed and facilitated by professionals in the industry, experts in the industry. I highly recommend that everyone join this at some point. They're going to do it again in spring 2023. The topics are around project management, effective leadership, better communication skills, diversity, equity, inclusion, event planning, marketing, all various different topics that help you improve as leaders. So our goal is to have 20 members of Pennsylvania clubs participate in that next year. And lastly, district leadership and operations. Of course, we're going to try to attain 50% of our lieutenant governors that are vacant by January 1st. We're going to continue to review and update our district strategic plan, continue working on a redivisioning plan where it makes sense, achieve 90% compliance and mandatory background checks among all our required leaders. This is important because our service leadership programs advisors require mandatory background checks, not just for our Pennsylvania state, but also with Kiwanis International. So more information from our youth protection manager will be sent out very soon on the advisors that do not have their clearances updated. So be on the lookout for that. Tiffany, you want to go over these?
Yep. All right, so here are our district calendar, that's the events that are coming up. So obviously your convention is August 11th to the 14th. There's still time to register. So if you need to find that information, it's on the PA Kiwanis page. The Action Club will be having their convention on August 20th in Altoona. The September, October, that's when you do the installation of officers for all the clubs. Normally, either your club president or a lieutenant governor can come in and do the installation of that. October 1st is when the Kiwanis year starts. October 10th, this is important mostly for secretaries, but October 10th is when the rosters need to be finalized in the Kiwanis system. And if not, if any member is still on it that doesn't want to be on it after October 10th, your club will still get billed for that. February 2023, it's going to be to be determined mid-year convention conference around that. So we're still not, don't have all the details worked out with that. So just look for information coming up with that. June 21st to the 24th is going to be the Kiwanis Convention, International Convention in Minneapolis, which will be exciting. And then August 10th to the 13th will be the Scranton Convention for our Pennsylvania district. So come up and see me. And then September 30th, 2023, obviously the Kiwanis year ends with that. So what's next? So I want you guys, you should be reviewing the leadership development guide that we put out. You want to work with your current membership committee and board to determine that smooth transition. You want to set your 30, 60, 90-day goals for the next administrative year. You want to maybe plan to conduct that community analysis and member satisfactory survey in the ACE tools, and then go from there. Now, the next thing it's going to be is to save the chat. We did put a lot of different links into the chat. So if you go in the chat, open up the chat, and then where it says everyone in blue, all the way to the right, you see a dot, dot, dot. When you click on that, you can hit save chat, and that will be able to save the chat, and it has all the links in there for you guys to go back into it with everything. So that chat then will be saved. Okay, and then last thing is we want you to complete the survey, and this will help us to figure out if there's anything that we need to include or to help you guys. I think it saves to, I don't know, Sarah, what does it save?
It opens to a folder. So if you did it right, if you click on those three dots and hit save chat, it'll then pop up and say show in folder. Click on that
Finder.
Yeah,
it says,
show in folder.
yeah.
And it'll go to your typically a folder on your computer. Yeah. And if you can't find it, it should just be like something like meeting. If you want to search for meeting chat.txt is typically what it's saved after. So you can search. Make sure you click on the three dots, Debbie, and hit save chat on the actual thing, not type it, just click it as an option, which was the same. Now let me bring up that screen. Those three dots, and then click on that save chat. Okay, cool. And then, yeah, sorry, Jeff.
That's okay. So this will be the survey, and we can put the link in the chat.
I got it.
Thank you. And there.
Yeah, so basically, if you, we always look for feedback. I know we went over. We just have so much information on membership. It really could be a 3-hour session, but we feel it is important in that you are prepared as a membership chair, because that is the biggest challenge I know every club is facing is how do I get new members? How can I keep my existing members engaged? It's huge. So, you know, we as a membership team are willing to do club trainings, divisional trainings, whatever you need. But let us know how we can improve on that as well as this session. So click on that link survey and give us some feedback. And also there's an area in there that has comments. If you want to see clubs, something at your division or club level, you know, let us know. you can also let myself or Governor-elect Mike Kuba know. Those are our email and our contact information. I'll just put mine in here real quick. If you guys are saving the chat, that's my email. And then call Mike if if I
570-237-1080.
it's like a joke. But here is his email as well. So feel free to reach out to either of us if for any membership assistance. Matt had to leave for another meeting, but he is our district membership chair for the district. So the three of us will ensure that each of you guys get the support you need. Okay, I'm going to end this and let you guys know if you guys have any questions for us, for Tiffany and I, anything that you want to share.
Yes, this is Chris
Yes.
again.
Hi, Chris.
Hi. I just want to share, going back to why, I often talk to people about Kiwanis, and I'm very upbeat on helping children and kids and grown-ups that are developing into young men and women. But I often emphasize the importance of the friendships you make in Kiwanis, that you make new friends. This is so important, the interpersonal development between members. And I've made very, very close friends. I've had a very devastating experience. I lost one of my best friends in Kiwanis. He was a World War II veteran. He had 2 Purple Hearts, 3 Bronze Stars, and et cetera, et cetera. We'd meet every week at our weekly meeting. And he'd talk about his war experiences. I talk about my life experiences. And the point being, emphasis, I shift away from children at appropriate times, into making new friends, new relationships. And that's part of Kiwanis to me.
Absolutely.
That's a very important part.
No, Chris, it's perfect. We talked about joining versus belonging, right? Your current members will stay because of the people. And we say that all the time, people join because of people. If you don't have that relation, if you're in a group, anything, and no one really is like talking to you, or you have nothing in common with, or you don't believe in their mission because, you just don't feel like you belong, you will find that member leaving, So that's a huge thing. That's why we talk about recognize our members and celebrate their birthdays. And if you haven't talked to them in a while, maybe something happened in their family, reach out, designate somebody to reach out via phone and say, hey, I saw you missed a few meetings. I hope everything's okay. Anything I could do. I think it's important that outreach happen. Sometimes in big clubs, it sometimes it misses, but thank you for sharing, Chris. Anyone else?
I just believe that making friends is a big, big part of Kiwanis.
Yeah.
And I don't overlook that when I talk to prospective members.
Yeah,
That's
I
all.
mean, no, I love that. I love that. I mean, some of my dearest friends are people that not just in my club, they're in the district level. So
Right. You know what I'm saying?
It's absolutely. So I'm sticking around. Conrad's happy to hear that. Conrad.
Appreciate it so much.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you for your session. It was very helpful.
Good. Again, feel free to email either of us. But I'm going to let you guys go. We went way over, but thank you for sticking it out. We'll get this recorded.
Okay, thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thanks.
Bye now.
Thank you. Bye.
See ya.